Hello friends, welcome to today's video. If you are new here, my name is Brittany and I'm a homemaking mama of 4 and a wife of 12 years. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about our budget for our family of 6, how we make it work for us, and how we're able to maintain and thrive and not struggle in today's economy. So to give you guys a little backstory, at the end of 2019, due to unforeseen circumstances, my husband and I made the decision for me to stay home with the kids, and I've been a full-time homemaker ever since. We were a family of 4 at the time, and although I didn't splurge, we didn't budget our finances. As the years went by, I became more frugal, and even though we were surviving on one income in the worrisome times of the virus and work for us was scarce, God still provided for us as he always does. Now that we're a family of 6 and the economy is horrible with what I feel like is price gouging in just about every area, our budget is pretty manageable for us to stick to in these very uncertain times. But budgeting is definitely something that we learned over time through trial and error. As of now, we've been living on one income for 5 years, and it has been a journey of faith and trust for our family, and it's been amazing to see God's provision for our family as well. Now, with me being the keeper of my home, I'm always trying to find ways to save our family money, and I always try my best to manage our money well. I don't want to be splurging on things if I don't need to, and I even thought of lowering and increasing our budget at times. But after discussing this with my husband, as of now, we have decided to stay where we're at $500. Okay, so once again, our budget is $500, so that's approximately $125 per week for our groceries. So I have to be sure to be intentional on what I'm buying, and this budget covers our meat, fruit, pantry staples, and things like that. Everything, it covers everything that we eat. So I know a lot of people I've watched on YouTube, they have a separate budget for their food, and then they have a budget for meat. Like one of the family channels that I like to watch, I've been watching these guys for years since they were at I think like 3,000 subs, probably a little lower. It's called Our Tribe of Many, and I think her name is Sarah. I don't know why, I don't remember that, but that's one of my favorite channels to watch. And I know they have a separate budget for their beef, and they buy their beef and pork separate. They have a separate budget for that. But I like to include all of our food in one budget. That way it's easier for me to keep track of. But it's so hard for me to find farm fresh meat where I'm located. I don't know if it's just because of where I'm at, but I've been searching and still preparing to buy. Hopefully I find somewhere. My hope is to buy half a cow, or I may do a quarter of a cow. I'm not sure yet, but it's so crazy to me that it's so hard to find clean meat nowadays. Before I go shopping, I like to scan my pantry and fridge to make a list of things that we need. So when I go into the stores, I can stick to the list. So I buy what I need and not what I want. Now, I'm not saying that you can't buy a treat, but don't go throwing unnecessary things in the basket. Like I used to do that so bad. Like I was so bad at that. I would just throw things in the basket and try to go off of my memory, but I would forget things and then have to run back to the store, or I end up getting things that I didn't need for the month. It was just chaotic. So make the list and stick to it. Now, our family is usually pretty basic and we stick to some of the same meals for the most part. But when I go shopping, I like to have an idea of what I would like to cook for the week. So here is what a full week of meals look like for us. And I'm just going to go over it with you guys. I wrote down a little weekly meal idea thing. So on Monday, we could have homemade hamburger helper with green beans. Tuesday, chicken enchiladas with rice and beans. On Wednesday, we can do spaghetti with corn. Thursday, baked chicken with rice and spinach. Friday, homemade pizza and brownies or cookies. Saturday, I like to do a crock pot lamb with carrots and potatoes. And on Sunday, we would take the remainder of that lamb and make like a pulled lamb sub sandwich with homemade fries or something of that nature. So that's what a week of meals could look like for our family. And for breakfast, it's usually eggs with toast or pancakes or something of that nature. So I try to keep my meals simple and tasty for my family. As a biblical homemaker, one thing that helps me with my spending is being a good steward of the things that God blesses my family and I with. As I'm reminded of Proverbs 31 verse 27, which says, "She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness." I believe it's important to steward well and manage our resources wisely to not only honor God, but to teach and show my kids that we can live abundantly on a smaller budget if we use wisdom. A few things I always make sure to stock in the pantry is rice, pasta, oatmeal, and pasta sauce. I usually buy these things in bulk. Aside from the pasta sauce, I like to use Costco to buy some of the better quality ingredients or things that I need, like wild Alaskan salmon, some of the more organic things that I have trouble finding around my area, and also for fruit. And for our fruits and veggies, I make sure to buy what's in season because they're usually cheaper and fresher as well. So that helps us to save quite a bit because we love having fresh fruit available for us to snack on. When I cook most of the time, I'll make a bigger batch. That way I can freeze it and have an easy day where I can let it thaw out and maybe make some quick rolls or something when I don't really care to cook for a last minute meal. Most of the time, this meal for us is spaghetti because the only ones in the house that like spaghetti is me and the two younger kids, and it's Sophia's favorite, so that's usually our leftovers. I shop at Nature's Grocery and they have a discount meat section. So if I happen to find something that's on sale, I will likely alter our weekly menu a little bit to help us save. Okay, so now that I've given you guys a little breakdown of some of the things that we do, now I want to share some things with you that you should not do when you're going grocery shopping. Here are a few things that you should try to avoid when you're going grocery shopping and you're on a tight budget. Number one is shopping without a list. It's not good to go to the store without a list because then you end up picking up a bunch of stuff that you don't need and also forgetting the things that you do need, and then that leads to more store trips, and it could also cost unnecessary spending by picking up things that you don't need. So definitely make sure you have a list. Number two is ignoring the sales and the discounts that they have. I know for me, usually I would go straight to the clearance section or the discount section. I know where I go shopping, most of the stores have all the discount items more so towards the back. So I always check. And if you're unsure, you could always ask a worker where would their clearance section be. So always check out the clearance section before you go to buy your main things because some of those things may be on sale. Number three, y'all, this is one of my biggest things, and I always try my best not to do this. But number three is going shopping while you're hungry. I know that usually when I go grocery shopping, I always go with my husband, and so I always try to make sure that he eats before we go because he's one that if he sees something and he's hungry, he's gonna buy it. And so I always try to make sure that we eat before we go. And it's not just him. I don't want to make it seem like it's just him because I'll do it too. And so to keep us from splurging on things like that, we always make sure we eat before we go grocery shopping. And also when you're grocery shopping, everything looks good, which can make you also purchase things that you don't need and waste money. Number five is buying those pre-packaged, like already prepared fruits and vegetables and things like that. I know when I go, I used to love getting those because they were quick and easy for me to pack my kids' lunches for school, but those things are priced so high. They are often more expensive than buying just the whole item. Like for a watermelon, you'll probably pay like $7-8 for the pre-cut, whereas you can get the whole melon for I think like $3 to $5 or something like that. So you're basically paying for convenience, of course. Number six is ignoring the store brand. Sometimes the store brand is better than the actual name brand thing. So that may be something that you want to consider checking out, the name brand. And oftentimes I know I've heard that some of like the seasoning makers or just manufacturers in general, sometimes they often make the actual generic brand for the store. Like McCormick, I think they make the generic brands for some of the store seasonings. So that may be something you want to consider as well. So one of my last tips is the bulk items. So I know a lot of people go to Costco and Sam's and things like that. And while I believe a few years ago, it was very good to be able to go and buy some things in bulk. But now when I look at the prices, it doesn't even make sense anymore because you're paying overpriced for the stuff that you would normally buy in the store. Like the prices in the bulk is like way more. Like you're not getting the discounts that you signed up for or that you were hoping to get because everything is just so expensive for no reason, of course. But try to get what you can at a regular store because it may be cheaper at a regular store rather than buying it in bulk. And a lot of times we buy things in bulk that we don't even use and they end up going bad in the pantry. So make sure you're buying what you need and don't let anything go to waste. I know for myself, I try not to waste anything. I try to put everything that's in my home to use. So buy things intentional and don't just buy it because it's there. So be intentional with your buying. So that is a little snippet of how we feed our family of 6 on a budget of $500. I'll also be sharing a video of some of my top tips for shopping and staying on budget soon with you guys. I hope this video helps you in some way. If you have any tips, tricks, or questions, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you manage your family's grocery budget. Make sure to subscribe and also to turn on your notifications. That way you would get notified when I upload or post anything. Thanks so much for watching and be blessed.